Yorkie Beagle mix, about 9 years old. Cat is fiery brown with black paws. The dog is brown. Both these animals were lost in the area of Johnson Road and I-94. If you've seen Spice or Rocco, please call 219-229-5763. Once again, that's 219-229-5763. And if your pet runs off or you find somebody else's lost pet, call 219-362-6144 to report that lost or found pet for the next Pet Patrol. Pet Patrol airs throughout the day, Monday through Friday, as part of your update news, and it's absolutely free.
On 96.7 The Eagle.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Sound Off. My name is Nate Laux. Today is Friday, February 28th, and we're just glad to have you here on the show. This is our last show, I think, of February. Maybe the 28th. Is that Monday? I forget. But anyway, glad to have you. We're going to be going in and talking to LaPorte City Engineer Nick Minich today. But before we get to him, a couple of things. I want to encourage you to go to hometownnewsnow.com, and in there you'll see a link to our election headquarters. On our election headquarters is all kinds of good information, a timeline of, when do you need to register to vote, when can you get early voting, these kind of things. But also we've got candidate profiles. So we sent out a survey to all of our local candidates, and we're going to continue to add those. Next week I'm going to send one out to the trustees and things like that. But on there you'll see the county commissioner that filled it out, commissioner candidates that filled it out. We've got some United States representative candidates have already filled it out and sent it back. And so as soon as we get them back, we put them on there, and you can read them, and you can read a little more about what they stand for and why they're running. Also on hometownnewsnow.com, if you go there, on the right-hand side, we've got we call it the Election Headquarters Daily Poll. And on there, you can decide, like, for instance, today is at this time, which candidate do you favor for LaPorte County Sheriff? Under the Republican ticket, Ron Heeg or Andrew Morris? I'd love to hear from you. And then I'll share the results of those on our Sound Off episodes on the next one. So, again, lots of reasons to go to hometownnewsnow.com, including our new HTNN election headquarters. Today on the show, we've got City Engineer Nick Minich. Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. I'm glad to have you in here to talk about some stuff that's happening. Obviously, the wintertime is still busy for you, but I know you guys are getting ready to gear up this spring. You've got some road funding that has come in and stuff like that. When do, and this is maybe not a precise number, but when can roads start getting repaved and things like that? Obviously, the asphalt plants aren't open yet. So when does that usually happen?
We really don't see any activity until those plants are just about ready to open. A lot of our projects involve curb and gutter and sidewalk, so they may get started a little earlier, but that asphalt plant opening and when they open is based on how much work they have and weather and a lot of factors. So, we hope for end of April, beginning of May. But we're never 100% sure. But
this spring, people should see some road paving and things like that, right?
Yeah, we actually rebid our road paving program, open bids this morning. They came in on budget. We had 2 bids, and one was right on budget, just maybe a hair under, which was nice because we're not seeing that. The first time we had it, we didn't see that. So we are going to award that later today, and that project will start this spring. So that's our community crossings program. That's funded 50% by the state, and then the other 50% comes from a combination of local funds, motor vehicle highway restricted funds, which can only be used for roads, the infamous wheel tax, which is 100% put into these programs where we use matching dollars so that everybody's local dollars are multiplied every time we use them. And then we have another fee called the trash impact fee. So those kind of grouping of funds are what we use as our match. And then, again, the state gives us 50%.
And how much road funds are you expecting to put towards, is the city rather? I mean, I know this isn't coming from your personal budget, but how much is the city hoping to spend on road repaving and rework this year?
I think, it's hard to say because we have a large project coming up this fall, which is the reconstruction of Truesdell, which we'll put out to bid later this summer. But with that combined with this program, and then we have a federal aid program that'll also be later in the summer, early fall. We're looking at probably in the $4 million to $5 million range as far as what we're investing in road infrastructure.
That's a pretty sizable chunk this year then that you're putting in there, huh?
Yeah. We try and make sure that we're investing at least the minimum of $2 million every year in road paving. Some years we're a little bit under that. Some years we're quite a bit ahead of that. So this year we're looking at a pretty good year as far as getting some roads paved.
And I'm going to put you on a spot in a second, but we've got Nick Minich on the show, the LaPorte City Engineer. If you've got a question, 219-362-0522. The Lookerville on-air line is open, 219-362-0522. Or you can email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. If you're listening through our Facebook Live feed, you can also add your questions there, and I'd be happy to ask him for you. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here because I don't know if you remember or not, but do you remember some of the roads this spring that you expect to get done?
Well, I think a lot of them are the ones that we've heard about, and we've finally gotten to a point where we can fit them into our asset management plan. So, one that comes to mind is, Chicago Street right in front of the post office. That type of street. So, the local streets that have needed a full depth pavement, and we just started doing that last year. This year, almost all of the projects are local streets needing full depth pavement. The federal aid project I mentioned earlier, that's Boyd Boulevard, which is much needed. It also is 6th Street by the high school and F Street by the high school. So those routes are designated a little different, and we're able to use federal dollars on those. But, Andrew Ave, south of 18th Street, the list of streets that a lot of people have struggled with, we've been able to use asset management to essentially build up the funds where we're not having to go in and fix every single road every single year, but we're able to now keep a lot of our roads that were in okay condition, in pretty good condition, and then that allows us to come in and do these reconstructions of the streets that really, really need some additional care.
So those of you dropping off packages at the post office, you now won't have to get your axle in your car replaced afterwards now, hopefully.
No,
after May, hopefully. Anyway.
After May.
Okay, great. And again, you've explained the asset management system that the City of LaPorte uses, and it can be a little confusing sometimes to understand, but essentially the strategy that the city employed for this was, let's go and repair the roads that might not look like the worst, because if we let them get worse, it's going to be a lot more expensive, and then go back and fix the most expensive roads. It kind of looked like you were leaving the worst roads unfixed, right?
Yeah, and the reason behind that is if you look at the numbers, to fix the really bad roads, it's going to be at least 10 times the cost of making sure we have our decent roads stay in that condition. And if we just let our decent roads become those bad roads, then we're always behind trying to catch up and spending 10 times the cost, where if we keep our decent roads in decent condition, then we don't get as far behind, and we can start investing money in the reconstructions.
All right, we've got Nick Minich, the City of LaPorte Engineer, on the show today. If you've got a question about stuff happening with roads or anything like that with engineering, you're welcome to call us at 219-362-0522. You can also email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com, and I'd be happy to ask the question. A couple other things that are happening around here. You're talking about, and I don't know, maybe it's already went through, but those that live in the 18th Street area, there's an area there that is getting rezoned, and I don't know if it was approved yet or not, but in maybe adding some housing. How did this come about?
Yeah, so we've been working with the school corporation for about a year and a half, and the city needs some additional housing. We really need to up the amount of residential units we have. And
the mayor's got his 30,000 by 2030, right?
Our 30 by 30 goals, and to get there, our goal is to look at every infill residential opportunity we can. So infill is going to be the best as far as the infrastructure's there, the sewer's there, water's there. It's the lowest cost way for us to get more residential into our community. we were able to work with the school corporation and essentially get the frontage along 18th Street when they acquired the large parcel right off of 18th and
kind of across from LaPorte Missionary Church there, right? That
Yes.
area there?
Yeah. And it right across from Regency subdivision. So what we're looking at doing in talking to developers, there's a lot of interest in this property we're finding from developers, but most developers are looking at a housing product that we really don't have a lot of in this community, and that's essentially what's at Regency. But like a duplex style townhome or some single family homes, kind of a mix of that range of housing. So in order to attract as many possible developers as possible, it makes sense to rezone it to R2. Right now across the street, like I said, at Regency is an R3, so that's even a more intense use. We're kind of dialing that down. And the R2 would allow for, say, a townhome on their own lots, but with a connected wall.
So again, I readily admit on this show, as our listeners will know, I'm ignorant about a lot of things. But so the change from the R3 to an R2 or whatever, R2 allows more uses for the property. Is that correct, or more or less?
Less than an R3. We're going from an R1 to an R2.
Okay.
And essentially,
but you're not going all the way to an R3.
No, we're not. And what
is there? An R2D2?
There is not an R2D2. No.
Okay. Well,
there's an R2A.
Okay. All right. So that spot then, hopefully, I mean, are you hoping that we're gonna start seeing some ground broke and an agreement with the developer before the end of the year? And at least the city will know what's going to happen with that property before the end of the year, hopefully.
Yeah, and we kind of have a series of these that we're rolling out. So 18th Street is really key. We have our new Director of Community Development and Planning, Craig Phillips, kind of spearheading that. But as we roll those out, we have other properties that we want to continue the process with. So 18th Street, I think we call it 18th Street Green or Greenway because it's adjacent to the Greenway. Is the first one, and then we'll look at our Beechwood Lakes property, and we'll kind of keep going from there. We just signed an agreement at the last Board of Works meeting for the Tidma Bakery site, so we're very, very excited about partnering with Habitat for Humanity on that one and getting some really good quality single-family owner-occupied homes in that neighborhood.
How many homes will go into that property? 4 or 5? Or?
At least 5.
Okay.
So we're looking at 5. It's a whole half-city block. You could probably accommodate 6 homes reasonably, but right now we're looking at 5 is what the agreement calls for.
Great. Well, we've got City Engineer Nick Minich on the show today. 219-362-0522. You're welcome to call me. You cannot text right now, but you can email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. And if you're streaming with us online, you're welcome to ask online, and I will read those questions as well. Hey, we're going to take our first break, and we're going to get right back here. We've got a caller online. We'll get to your questions as soon as we get back. Keep listening to 96.7 The Eagle.
Car problems often strike at the absolute worst times, but you can rest well knowing that Cannon's Automotive Service is here for you and dedicated to get you back on the road with prompt, efficient, same-day service. The same Cannon's commitment that LaPorte has trusted for over 50 years. Cannon's Automotive Service, now with 2 locations, 710 Tyler Street and 909 Boyd Boulevard.
With Cannon's Automotive, we fix everything.
Vote Fagan 2022. Who is Sean Fagan? He's a lawyer. He's a Republican. Sean Fagan, running for LaPorte County Prosecutor 2022. Sean Fagan knows that LaPorte County is a great place to live, and he wants to keep it that way. Sean Fagan for LaPorte County Prosecutor 2022. Be safe. Be strong. Let's work together. Vote Sean Fagan 2022. This message paid for by Fagan for Prosecutor.
Good news, Surf Fiber Internet is growing in LaPorte. Get 1 gig speed with a free whole home Wi-Fi router for only $65 a month. There's no hidden fees, no contracts, and free installation. They are building out more neighborhoods every day. So visit surffiber.com to check your address for service or call 844-955-SURF for more details. That's 844-955-SURF. This is a limited time offer. Speeds may vary and some restrictions apply.
The Melt Kitchen at the Vault is now open and serving lunch Wednesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Located at 810 Lincoln Way across from the courthouse. Chef Eric and his staff are serving up some prepared-to-order, quick-service comfort food that will keep you coming back for more. Stop in today, 810 Lincoln Way in downtown LaPorte. Need to feed a crowd? The Melt Kitchen also offers catering and bulk ordering. Call 243-3331. That's 243-3331, or follow them on Facebook for more details.
With Purdue Federal Credit Union's digital banking, you can instantly view and redeem your credit card reward points on the go. And now you can also check your FICO score. Primary account holders can now view their FICO score, see the key factors that affected their score, and read educational resources on financial health for free. Purdue Federal Credit Union, getting you back to what matters most. Federally insured by NCUA.
How many clubs, organizations, companies, or groups have served their community for 101 years? Everyone at Dolson Insurance knows the Kiwanis Club LaPorte is one of those organizations that's been working for LaPorte for 101 years. Our Kiwanians have sponsored Little League and Babe Ruth teams in LaPorte for years. The Kiwanis Club LaPorte has also hosted the LaPorte High School Spring Sports Dessert for many years. Everyone at Dolson Insurance thanks the Kiwanis Club of LaPorte for all their support these past 101 years. They're a great community partner. The Kiwanis Club of LaPorte sponsors Children's Club at local schools, K-Kids at Critchfield, Lincoln, and Highland schools, Builders Club for grades 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 at Kessling Junior High, Key Club at New Prairie and LaPorte High Schools, and Circle K Club at Purdue Northwest. On this 101st anniversary of the Kiwanis Club of LaPorte, everyone at City Sand LLC would like to say thanks for supporting our youth through your various clubs and teaching our children the importance of community service. Everyone at City Sand LLC salutes the Kiwanis Club of LaPorte for their exceptional 101 years of public service.
Whether it's a car accident,
storm damage, or a fire,
when the unthinkable happens,
it doesn't matter if you've saved money in 15 minutes.
In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do.
In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered.
Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people.
Hi, I'm Scott Templin.
I'm Carl Savage.
And I'm Joe Bernanke with General Insurance Services in LaPorte, Michigan City, Valparaiso, and Hobart.
Visit GENINS.com.
Let's look at the forecast at 96.7 Eagle, brought to you by the Pink Sheep Children's Boutique.
The charming and affordable Pink Sheep Children's Boutique has so many fun themes and styles for boys, girls, and moms. Come see for yourself. The Pink Sheep Children's Boutique, 604 Lincoln Way in downtown LaPorte.
Michiana weather.
Chance for scattered snow showers this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies. High of 27, northwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance of snow showers tonight, 17. From the Weather Center at HometownNewsNow.com. Right now, 27.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
Welcome back, friends. It is Friday, February 25th, 2022, and you are listening to Sound Off. Just in case you didn't know where you were or what day it was. We're in the studio with city engineer Nick Minich, talking about roads and talking about projects that are happening around LaPorte. If you have a question, 219-362-0522, or send me an email at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Be happy to ask the question for you. We've got a caller. Let's get to them right now. Hey, thanks so much for calling. What's your question for city engineer Nick Minich?
I was just calling to see with some of these future projects, if we could keep in mind leaving them large enough for some of the vehicles that still need to use them, like garbage trucks, utility vehicles, fire trucks, etc. Just because I know some of the past projects have kind of constricted the roads or added some obstructive curbing. The examples I've got are Clear Lake Boulevard, Lakeshore Drive, the constricting of State Street in front of the hospital, constricting of Madison between the library and their project that's going on, and 18th and 8th Street.
All right, yeah, that's a good note, Nick.
Yeah, no, and a lot of those, they do make it a little bit more difficult. A lot of the reasoning behind that is also to make it a little bit safer, making sure that people can access those areas, especially A and 18th is by the middle school, intermediate school, by the hospital. They have all their parking is across the street. Different things like that. We're looking at shortening the pedestrian crossing distance and making sure cars slow down. Everything we do, for the most part, we'll run, there's a program called Auto Turn. We'll make sure that vehicles can navigate those areas. I think people are used to going through them at a certain speed, and when we make these changes, it's really is geared towards trying to make sure that they're going through them at a safer speed so that all users are safe and can navigate our road infrastructure. So we do look at those things. Those things are in design. I think Clear Lake Boulevard was, an example of one where, the design width of the road should be able to accommodate most vehicles, but there are certain vehicles that just struggle with a section of road that width. So we'll continue to improve that. The other thing is Clear Lake Boulevard. The sections that a lot of people do struggle with are really between Furnace and Detroit Street, and that section as part of our local tracks project is going to go back to a two-way. So now that we have some funds for the overpass at Tipton and Park Street there, it'll be two-way from Furnace, and that'll allow for traffic to get back into the Newport Landing area and beyond.
All right, let's get to another call. Hello, thanks so much for listening to the show. We've got Nick Minich on the studio. What question do you have for the city engineer?
Yes, I was at the Kiwanis meeting last night, and the mayor talked about stuff, and I asked a few questions. One I forgot to ask. I live close by to the little overpass here on First Street, and talked about these trains setting. A lot of times when trains set over that overpass every night, is there any time that's inspected, and who's responsible for maintenance on that?
It's a good question, because the last week twice there was a train stopped over, and it's frustrating, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you live in that area like we do.
Yeah, there have been some court rulings within, I think, the last 5 years, and essentially what that's made it is much more difficult for the city to have any regulation or any authority over how railroads operate. So we really have no ability other than to beg the railroads to try and do something other than park trains whenever, wherever they want. So, we encourage it and we try and keep a dialogue with the railroad, but ultimately they have a lot of control, and that's been backed up by the court, and we'll do what we can. That's a kind of a key reason that we're really grateful for the state having the local tracks program and being able to add another grade separated crossing. We can't control our local crossings. We don't have any say. Ultimately, the railroad gets to decide most of it. So anytime we can do a grade separated crossing, so an overpass or underpass, it opens up the opportunity for a more reliable, more resilient, safer transportation network. So, we look for opportunities like that, but ultimately, I think there's some things that we can't do based on the railroads.
So I know, again, railroads are typically under a federal guidelines, these kind of things, like you said. So it's not even a state guideline thing; it's a federal. And they handle. I think maybe you told me this on a different show before. I forget, but. Do they even handle repaving of the tracks and everything like that, or no?
Yeah, and honestly, that's one of the things holding up our Boyd Boulevard paving is, we're still getting the final details together for our permit to be able to pave Boyd Boulevard. South Shore has been great to work with. It's just a process and takes time, and then.
But that one track there on Boyd Boulevard could hold up a project essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean we have a lot of layers to that. So we look to go and pave something quick. So we put it in put it on a program and look to do it. But then INDOT needs their documents ahead of time, and the railroad needs theirs, and all these things just kind of make projects take way longer than we'd like them to. We want to just go pave roads. We want to find the right roads.
If you got the money, let's get them paved. Yeah.
But anytime you see a railroad, it really becomes some extra hurdles that make a lot of what we need to do difficult.
All right, we've got City Engineer Nick Minich in the studio today, taking your questions about roads and different projects happening around LaPorte. Some good questions already. Let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for calling and listening to the show. We've got City Engineer Nick Minich in the studio. What's your question?
Hi, Nick.
Hi.
This is Roger Sudlow. Hey, I just curious on what the update is on the corridor. I haven't talked to you for a while, and where you stand there. I'll listen.
It's a good question.
Talk to you later.
Yeah. So after a series of public meetings, one public meeting and a lot of dialogue last year, we kind of took some thoughts back to the city, and we came up with some concepts as to, what can we do to this corridor to make sure that it's absolutely the right corridor for the community. And we have some really good ideas as to how to have less impacts to individuals outside of the city and others. But in doing so, we were looking at some variations of the alignments and the preferred alignment that was presented at the last public meeting. So we're hopeful that very soon we'll have some updated traffic numbers, and that's really going to dictate, how much we can deviate from that preferred alignment to make sure that we're, impacting, people's properties and homes and such significantly less. So, it's just like anything with a project like this, it's a little bit of process in order to get to the numbers to make sure that it's all valid. And we don't want to do a project that doesn't make absolute sense as far as reducing traffic and congestion and other things.
It certainly has to meet that goal, but if you can impact county residents less, that's the goal as well, right? That's
Exactly.
There we go.
Exactly.
All right, we've got city engineer Nick Minich in the studio today. We're going to take our final break of the day. If you have a question for him, you're welcome to call us at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. I'd be happy to ask the question for you. Hey, I want to thank you so much for listening. Keep it right there on 96.7 The Eagle.
Ben Conowitz here, LaPorte Seamless Gutter, 219-362-9972. Fall is here, and that means leaves and debris for your gutter system. We've got 3 separate types of gutter guard for your home. Leaves and debris come in all shapes and sizes. We don't need a one-size-fits-all for your gutter. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 219-362-9972, or you can visit us on the web, www.lpseamless.com.
Bring your plans and project ideas to the 2022 Home and Lifestyle Expo at the Blue Chip Casino Events Center in Michigan City. Admission is free for this 2-day family event, Saturday, March 5th and Sunday, March 6th, presented by the Builders Association of LaPorte County. Talk with professionals in home building, remodeling, maintenance, landscaping, home decor, and so much more. Enter to win a $1,000 shopping spree. The 2022 Home and Lifestyle Expo. Visit homelifestyleexpo.com for more information.
On Wednesday, July 13th, the LaPorte County Fair welcomes to the stage for one unforgettable night, Parker McCollum. Tickets are on sale now at lpfair.com. McCollum's tour for Gold Chain Cowboy has been full of sold-out shows around the country, and Wednesday, July 13th will be no exception. Tickets go on sale Friday, February 18th at lpfair.com.
Harmony Pools wants to help you create a beach party right in your own backyard. Whether you're looking for a new in-ground pool or in-ground hot tub, they are sure to help you make your backyard dreams come true. Need to schedule your pool closings? Need a liner replaced? Or maybe you're looking for weekly or bi-weekly cleaning contracts. Call for your quote today, and don't forget to ask about the many services they offer. 733-0552. Let Harmony Pools turn your backyard into your dream yard. That's 733-0552.
101 years of service to a community is a long time, but the LaPorte Kiwanis Club is just getting started. Commissioner Rich Mrozinski and his wife Beverly want to salute the LaPorte Kiwanis Club on 101 years of service to LaPorte. For 101 years, the LaPorte Kiwanis Club has sponsored children's programs in LaPorte County for infants, preschoolers, grade school, middle school, high school, and college. Commissioner Rich Mrozinski and his wife Beverly backs the LaPorte Kiwanis Club in all their sponsored activities for kids. So, have you visited Sims Meat Processing on 3rd Line Road in Kingsbury Industrial Park to see their bigger retail store? Double the space, double the meats, both fresh cuts and frozen. And don't forget that Sims now offers 100% whole beef burgers from local farms in LaPorte County. As a matter of fact, you'll be able to see where your beef came from right on the label. So head on over to 3rd Line Road in Kingsbury Industrial Park and check out the new retail shop at Sims Meat Processing. Call them at 393-1000 or check out their Facebook page.
101 years of service to a community is a long time, but the LaPorte Kiwanis Club is just getting started. Everyone at GE Marshall Incorporated wants to salute the LaPorte Kiwanis Club on 101 years of service to LaPorte. For over 100 years, the LaPorte Kiwanis Club has sponsored children's programs in LaPorte County for infants, preschoolers, grade school, middle school, and high school. Everyone at GE Marshall Incorporated backs the LaPorte Kiwanis Club in all their efforts supporting thousands of children over 101 years of service. Everyone at Meals on Wheels LaPorte County wants to take this opportunity to support the Kiwanis Club of LaPorte. For the past 100 years, the Kiwanis Club of LaPorte has promoted and sponsored many programs to help every facet of our community. Kiwanians collaborate with Meals on Wheels LaPorte County to deliver meals to seniors throughout LaPorte County. For the past 50 years, Meals on Wheels has brought nutritious meals and peace of mind that enable seniors to live independently in their own home. Meals on Wheels LaPorte County and our clients say thank you to the LaPorte Kiwanians for a job well done. We deliver together. Meals on Wheels LaPorte County is looking for volunteers. Visit LaPorteCountyMealsOnWheels.org.
Your Kiwanis Club of LaPorte is celebrating 101 years of service to LaPorte. Everyone at Tillinghast Insurance extends their hand of gratitude to the Kiwanians for 101 years of service. The Kiwanis Club of LaPorte supports the Riley Children's Hospital. They also sponsor LaPorte High School Academic Recognition Dessert and work with the YMCA on their triathlon, plus much more. Everyone at Tillinghast Insurance salutes the Kiwanis Club of LaPorte and congratulates the Kiwanians on their 101st anniversary.
Your opinion matters. We invite you to share it by calling or texting the Liquor Ball on-air line at 362-0522. That's 362-0522. Now, back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
All right, welcome back to our final segment of Sound Off here. We've got City Engineer Nick Minich talking about different infrastructure things happening around the city of LaPorte, streets, all kinds of different things. If you've got a question, we got about 8 minutes left on the show. You're welcome to call me, 219-362-0522. The phone lines are open, or you can email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Hey, here's a question we received on our email line. Do you have a timeline for the roundabout that is planned on Park Street?
Yes. So we have an intersection improvement project that's tied to a street reconstruction project. So that's the intersection of Bach, McClung, and Park Street. And right now we just moved that money into federal fiscal year 25, which actually means fall of 2024.
Yeah, that's confusing.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're looking at that project, hopefully fall of 2024, and making sure that it kind of coordinates with the overpass project. We don't want to make residents deal with construction over a 5-year period. And we want to make sure that we can have a reasonable maintenance of traffic plan that kind of works both projects together.
In the Tipsy Street overpass, as it was mentioned earlier, what is the timeline on that?
So it's about the same timeline. So we're looking at construction starting, I believe, at the beginning of 2024.
Okay, so not this year, not next year. But, yeah. Okay. And then what are some of the projects that you expect to see this year around the city?
As we talked about earlier, we've got a lot of repaving projects, but then we're also we're gearing up, kind of finalizing some design and working on design for the reconstruction of Truesdale, which is really exciting. That's paired with a Healthcare Foundation grant, so we're very grateful for the Healthcare Foundation supporting our Clear Lake Loop project. So,
how far will that Truesdale repavement go? All the way to
Pine Lake Ave.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Essentially, we'll be a little bit short of Pine Lake Ave, but we're looking at doing some improvements up to Pine Lake Ave to add a little bit of capacity. We're getting a little bit of congestion there. Mm-hmm. This project sets up some other projects as well. So. The Truesdale project then leads into a future extension of Clear Lake Boulevard that would tie into a Polk Street extension. Then we're also, through the Heart of LaPorte plan, looking at a Lake Street extension. So these projects combined start building a really resilient traffic network. Right now, I think we have issues with traffic on Pine Lake Ave. We really can't add more capacity to Pine Lake Ave. It's just not possible.
Plus, you guys don't control Pine Lake Ave, right?
One, we don't control it, and two, it's congested enough as it is. But I think what we're looking at doing is having these additional routes that will start alleviating that traffic, and especially as the Banks development comes online, and we have 200 new apartments, and we've got some other developments hopefully happening in there. Having a very resilient transportation network is important, and we're setting the stage for that with this Truesdale project.
All right, let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for calling. What's your question for City Engineer Nick Minich?
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for coming on to answer.
Hey, Steve, where have you been, man? I thought you were going to call earlier in the show.
Monday I tried to call in, but I couldn't get a cell signal on the way back from Indy. But I got a lot of information. Let's see if we have the right candidates on the air. My question, I was reading about the Tipton Street project in the legal section last week. Mm-hmm. Is that going to be a completely state project? Is that because it's a grant? Or maybe this has been answered earlier, because it's under IDOT in there. Mm-hmm. And, is the city going to have anything to do with that, or is the state going to take all that project on? Thank you.
It's a good question. Bridges are an interesting thing in Indiana, right?
Yeah, so the county will own the bridge eventually.
Because they own every bridge.
Yeah, so the Local Tracks program was an initiative of the governor's. There's, all kinds of local paving, local different programs. The Local Tracks was to add grade separation, and what's really nice for the city is we do pay 20% like most grants, but we don't pay that until construction and right-of-way acquisition. So the state took on all design, the state took on a lot of the upfront, and then we end up paying 20% for for the construction, 20% for the right-of-way acquisition. Really a great cost savings for us. And then in addition to that, there's funds that come in from grade separation and closing crossings from the railroad. So those dollars can then be added to it. So, we're looking at a $6+ million project for, less than $1 million, and
on the city's part.
And that's, and it's a very significant project when you talk about public safety and making sure that ambulances and emergency vehicles can get north and south in the city. It's a really key corridor, and I think people don't realize, how valuable Park and Tipton and
Sure.
Rose and goes all the way from Monroe, and you can get almost to Highway 20 on that same corridor. So it's a really key corridor for us, and it's going to be a great addition to our transportation network.
All right, let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show. Oh, no more callers? Okay, great. Well, we've got Nick Minich on the show today, the City of LaPorte Engineer. A couple things I have here before, since we don't have any callers or anything. You mentioned Beechwood Lakes earlier, and I don't know if the city's talked a lot about Beechwood Lakes. It's an interesting project and property. Explain, this is a property that pretty much fell into the city's lap, right?
Well, it fell into the city's lap, but it speaks to the amazing community we have. The Luck family.
Where's the property at first?
Okay, sorry. The property is kind of behind Beechwood Golf Course. It's accessed off of Boyd Boulevard. It's a large property, 40, 50 acres, something like that. And really, like I said, it speaks to the generosity and support of our community. So the Luck family was looking to do something with the property, and conversations with mayor and others, and realized that they could help create a lasting legacy for quality housing in the city with that property. Not that property is going to create everything we need as far as housing, but it could help us financially to go back into other neighborhoods and other places to really improve the overall quality of what the city of LaPorte has to offer. So that was a donation to the city, and we're going to take that property and hopefully develop it into an asset for the community.
Say, will it essentially be a subdivision in a sense, or?
Yeah, we're looking at a residential subdivision of some type. There's just a lot of.
I assume you'll be working with a developer on that as well.
Yes, yeah, we will put that out for a public offer, and take proposals from developers as far as what the end product is for the property.
All right, and then I wanted to say, is there anything happening? Our last question here: are you expecting anything to be announced, or obviously we got Aldi being built in Newport Landing. Are you hoping for some more movement in there this year at some point?
Yes.
Do you want to tell me what it is, since the mayor's probably not listening, because he will never tell me? Oh, darn it. I try. Hey, listeners, listen to me. I try every time to get secrets out, to break news. They never do it. Hey, Nick, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. I'll give you the final word. What do you want our listeners to know?
Just, we're here to listen. I think, a lot of times projects, they can get contentious, but we do want to listen to the public and make sure that we're doing everything within our ability to provide the best infrastructure for the community. So give us a call. We're here.
And if you have a problem, call the mayor. He gives his cell phone out all the time. Hey, thanks so much for listening today. Next Monday, since we've got essentially all kinds of primary stuff happening in March, we're going to use next Monday. Or no, next Monday's Randy Novak, Michigan City, or sorry, LaPorte County Council person, Randy Novak, to answer some questions about what's happening with the council and all the lit stuff. So he's the council president. And then Friday, we're going to have an open show for March. We try to do that the first show of the month. So it'll be, again, whatever you want to talk about on Monday or on Friday, we can do that. Listen on Monday to Randy Novak, Friday, open show. Looking forward to having it. If you ever miss an episode, go to hometownnewsnow.com. Also, go there now and vote in our today's poll. Which Republican candidate for sheriff do you prefer? Hey, be good to yourself, be good to others. Keep listening to 96.7 The Eagle.
Thank you for joining us and voicing your opinion